was really feeling that. I almost got up to the track.
Almost.
But right now we're gonna get back. So we are gonna get started again. Let's let everyone take their seats. We'll just have everyone sit down. I know the food is good, but we'll get some later. All right, so right now what we're going to be doing, we're going to have Ancient African History by Kudjo. I will give you a little bit brief information on him. He's a lecturer, community leader, and conscious hip-hop artist who's worked with communities of Toronto for over 15 years, uplifting, following, and humanly present the head of the first Moorish science movement at Moorish Museum Toronto. So ladies and gentlemen, Kudjo.
Peace, peace. How's everyone doing? All right? All right. Time's going to be short, so we're going to move fast. Here we go. All right. We say a lot of things that we don't know what we're talking about, and in this day and age, being that we have information at our fingertips, it's important that we do research. It's very important that we do research, because if you don't do research, you're really not going to know, right? Are we Africans or Moors? African, the term African comes from a Roman general by the name of Scipio Africanus that conquered what they call today Northern Africa. Right? So the only part of the continent that is called Africa is the northern part. If we ask people from the continent, where are you from? They're not going to say Africa. They're going to say Ghana. They're going to say Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, etc. Right? Secondly, Africa is a continent. And people come from countries, not continents. So, when we make the claim or the statement that we're African, the world looks at us like we're incompetent. Because we don't know what we're talking about. And incompetent people, most of the time, people just put a glass in between you and them, and then they make money off you, they rape you for the rest of your life. And that's just how it goes. If you don't believe that, you can ask somebody from India, what's the real name of India, and they'll tell you Hindustan. And they'll be surprised that you actually know that India's original name was Hindustan. Because that's not something that you're supposed to know outside of Hindustan. If you speak with somebody from Sri Lanka, they'll tell you that the original name of Sri Lanka is Ceylon. And if you research the history of teas, a tea that we drink, there's no tea called Sri Lankan tea. All the teas are called Ceylonese tea. Today, 2013, right? Moor is a noun, which means it identifies person, place, thing, etc. Right? Grade 3. Moor comes from Latin, Moros, which is also connected to Mauritania, Morocco, Algeria, Tunis, Tripoli, all these countries which are in the northern part of what they call Africa. When we also look at the term African being connected to dark-skinned people, that's a fraud because, as we said, Africa is a continent, people don't come from continents. So we're going to go through, we're going to fly through some pictures, some information about ancient people, ancient dark-skinned people, and prove that they didn't call themselves African people. Alright? There's a movie called The Long Ships, starring Sidney Poitier, 1964. If you can, try to get this movie and take a look at it. The movie is a Yugoslavian adventure film directed by Jack Carter, based on a Moorish king by the name of Ali Mansa, and then that's who Sidney Poitier plays. And Poitier forces a Viking who is in reality his slave, for the lack of a better term. So during this time, the Moors had Europeans as slaves. So we weren't the first slaves. Don't think that we were the first slaves. When they say slavery in America and all that, 300 years of the 400 years of slavery in America was dark-skinned people having Europeans as slaves. That's documented fact. You can go get a book called White Gold. And the book called White Gold will explain in detail that 300 years of the 400 years of slavery in America was dark-skinned people having Europeans as slaves. When you go and research, not research, if you go and check out the new movie that came out with Jamie Foxx, Django, that's what they're talking about in the movie. That's why Samuel L. Jackson told Leonardo DiCaprio, meet me in the room right now. And then when they went in the room, the tables were turned. Samuel L. Jackson wasn't the slave anymore. He was the master, and he was telling Leonardo DiCaprio what the position was and what he has to go back outside and do. Just watch the movie. It breaks it down real good that there was an overthrow on all these plantations in America. There was an overthrow. Right? But when we get to the American part, we'll deal with that. So, Moorish king. Just remember, you're not an African king, and this is in the movie. They say Moors in the movie. They don't call him an African king in the movie. Right? Moorish king. So that was called The Long Ships. There's a movie called True Romance with Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper, and a few other people. There's a part of the movie when Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper, they're about to kill Dennis Hopper. And because Dennis Hopper was about to die, he basically tells Christopher Walken, well, hey, I see that you have dark eyes and dark hair, where are you from? And he's telling him that he's from Sicily, and the Sicilians are the blah blah. And then the Dennis Hopper tells him, oh, so that means you have, N-word in you. And then he starts breaking down the story about the Moors going into Sicily and civilizing all these Europeans in Italy. This is a movie, right? Laying it all out for everybody, but we think movies are fiction. When movies are the new age way of telling you the truth about something without you accepting it. All these movies that we have coming up, we're going to go through some of them right now, just so you can be clear that they know what they're talking about. Anybody heard of the Rock of Gibraltar? Prudential Financial Company uses the Rock of Gibraltar as their logo. Right? The Rock of Gibraltar is named after a Moorish general. Not a black general, not an African general, not a Negro general, a Moorish general by the name of Tariq ibn Zayed. And Gibraltar, Arabic name is Jabal Tariq. Anybody speaks Arabic, you go ask them what's Jabal Tariq mean, and they'll break it down to you. Right? Everybody knows the truth about us except us. And they don't have the authority to tell you the truth about you because internationally it's a war crime for somebody civilized to tell somebody uncivilized that you're actually civilized. And you need to correct yourself. You can't. It's an international war crime. People get stoned at walls and hung for waking up dumb people. Except in North America. In North America, they let you have your pants down here and all that. You go try doing that in some other countries, see if they don't stone you. Go to the continent, go to some of these countries in the world, outside of North America, and wear your pants down here. See if they don't stone you to death or hang you. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The Robin Hood, again, the movie, right? Kevin Costner, everybody knows Kevin Costner. Everybody knows Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman in the movie is playing a Moor, not an African, not a black guy, not a Negro, not a slave. He's playing a Moor by the name of Azim. And Azim is the most intellectual person in the whole movie. If you go watch Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the Europeans in the movie are going to Azim for Azim to tell them what should we do next. Right? There's a part of the movie where they're on a boat and Azim pulls out a telescope, gives it to Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner looks through the telescope and he sees that, the guys who, before he put the telescope to his eye way over there, they're now 2 feet from him. And he pulls out his sword and he's like, And Azim's looking at him like, what's the problem? And there's maybe like 3 takes where he puts it up and he puts it down and he's looking again and he puts it up again and he's just blown away. Like blown away. And if you go on YouTube, there's a few clips of interviews with Morgan Freeman speaking about him playing this part and its connection to quote unquote black people and why we shouldn't call ourselves black people because that's not what we are. It's all online. Everybody knows about Jews in here? Everybody heard about Jews before? Alright. In Jerusalem, there's a gate called Moor's Gate. Not African Gate, not Black Guy Gate, Moor's Gate. Moor's Gate, Bab el-Maghraba, is one of the 4 entrances to the Dome of the Rock and the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The Moor's Gate engraved Moors into Judaic religious history due to the fact that the Moors were part and parcel of these holy territories, Jerusalem and Palestine. Moors not only occupied the territory near and around Moor's Gate, they also were landowners. They initially made Jerusalem their domicile because they preferred Jerusalem as a center of divine education as well as holy territory. How come they don't talk about this during Black History Month? How come they don't talk about Moor's Gate during Black History Month? How come all these black leaders that we hold so high and we respect them and we honor them, they don't tell you about Moor's Gate? But they're going to tell you about some civil rights, marching, picketing crap that hasn't got us anywhere in however long we've been doing that. But we'll leave them alone for now because we got something for them later. The temples of Sri Lanka throughout history have attempted to categorize the Sri Lankan Moors as belonging to the Tamil ethnic group. However, many Moors feel that this is wrong and that many Arab traders adopted the Tamil language when they settled in Sri Lanka, which we already said is known as Ceylon. So and you can see the brothers wearing their fez, and then if you look at the table right there, you see a fez on the table, which means that they know what's up. And remember, a few years ago, when the Sri Lankans shut down the garden, right? The Sri Lankans are dark-skinned people just like us. Alright. How come there was no police hoses and police kicking their ass? Shut down the garden. Rush hour. Rush hour, they shut down the gardener, and police didn't do nothing. They just let them shut the gardener down. You let some of these Negroes up here try to shut down the gardener and see what happens to them. And remember, Sri Lankans are dark like us, but nobody ever calls them black people. Matter of fact, the Sri Lankans darker than us, and nobody calls them black people. And they won't let you call them black people. And if you ask people who live outside of North America, Canada, etc., what's a black person, they'll tell you that they don't know what that is. They never heard that before ever in their life. Just try it. Just go to some of these, you know all those stores up on Kennedy right there? Right? You know that whole plaza right before Brindley? And then all the signs are written in languages that aren't from this country? Go in all those stores and ask them if they ever heard of black people before. And see what they tell you. Don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself. Everybody knows Martin Lawrence. Say Martin Lawrence is a crazy guy. They found Martin Lawrence with a gun on the street and, you know, he's going crazy. But Martin Lawrence played in a movie called Black Knight. Comedy movie. Throughout the whole movie, they called Martin Lawrence a Moor. Throughout the whole movie. And Martin Lawrence can't understand why they're calling him a Moor. He's trying to justify to them, don't call me that, I'm from Harlem, I don't know what you're talking about. But for the whole movie, they're calling him Moor. They don't call him black guy. They don't call him African. They don't call him Negro slave. They actually think that he's a prince from Florence. Right? The tenants of the castle believe him to be a French Moor from Normandy, because he tells them he is from Florence and Normandy, which is a famous intersection in South Central Los Angeles. Through the whole movie they call him a Moor. Just go on YouTube, look up Black Knight. How's my time looking? Alright. This is a picture of a Russian Moor. Not a Russian black guy. Not a Russian African. A Russian Moor. Dark-skinned brother from Russia. And based by the way that he's dressed, we know that he has some type of military stature. He's not a slave over there, and there's not Russians having him in bondage. He's able to get down with the army. And he's able to hold a blade. But then in slavery, they said, you know, slaves aren't allowed to carry blades and aren't carry weapons and all that stuff. So how do you have this brother decked out, military guard, with a big blade like that? And nobody's worried or scared that he's gonna kill slave master or nothing like that? You just let him chill? Everybody knows about our history except ourselves. Alessandro de Medici. Everybody heard about the Medici family? Everybody knows about the Medici family. Foundation of those people is a Moor. Coming again, not a black guy, not an African. Moor. M-O-O-R. In Germany, or in German, it's M-O-H-R. Any Filipinos there? Oh, what do you guys call black people in the Philippines? Moros, right? You're not sure? You should probably ask somebody that's a little older than you about Moros. M-O-R-O-S. And they'll tell you what that is. Known as the Moor, became the first Duke of Florence. The first Duke of Florence was a dark-skinned brother. And they're going to have us think that we weren't first anything. We were slaves on plantations in America. And that's where we're supposed to stop. We're not supposed to think past that. But like I said in the beginning, if you do your research, you'll find all this stuff out. All you have to do is just Google more. Empire of Shanghai, 16th Dynasty, Sunni Ali Bear. Again, dignitary. It's not an African slave guy. This is the ruler. The ruler of the Shanghai Empire was a brother by the name of Sunni Ali Bear. There's two sects of Muslims, right? Shia and what? Oh, okay. Yeah, but just so you can, his name is Sunni. That's not his religion. That's his name. But if we don't know our own culture, then people are going to take our culture and they're going to do with it what they will. And that's a pattern. People always take our culture and do what they will with it. This is a young brother right here. He is the president, king of Uganda. Wearing that same headwear that you see at the back on that table. But then everybody is going to associate that headwear with Freemasons. Only. And think that, oh yeah, they're the ones that rule that headwear. Nobody else can have that headwear except Freemasons. When this is present, 2013. I know he's not a Freemason. I know he's not a Freemason, but he's wearing that headwear because that's his culture. Shang Dynasty. The first dynasty of China was dark-skinned people. The first dynasty of China wasn't people that we see today that we call Chinese people. Dark-skinned people ruled China. I ruled it. But we don't want to claim to be who we are. We want to be slaves. Li Min, black-headed people. And then if you just look at the phenotype, this is what they look like today. This is what they look like ancient. And this sister, she was like some, what's that show where they you know, like American Idol? But in China, she was one of the participants. The sister right here. You might find that on YouTube too. This picture is a statue on a church in Germany. A brother from Germany that we know personally. Right? Brother from Germany that we know personally came and told us that, you know what, it's kind of funny because in Germany they don't call people black people in Germany. People who look like me, they call them Moor, M-O-H-R. And there's a franchise of pharmacies in Germany called Moorish Apotheker. The franchise of pharmacies in Germany is called Moorish Apotheker because the Moors were the ones that brought medicine to Germany. And his European friend told him that the reason why Europeans stopped calling us Moors and started calling us black people because we did that. We stopped calling ourselves Moors and started calling ourselves black people, and the world bought it. And while they bought it, they also stole everything that you have because you don't want to be yourself. You want to be slaves. And the last picture, this is our people in Tibet. Now, if you're going to tell me that these people are Tibetan people, like we see today, and we don't want to accept the fact that we ruled the planet and we weren't slaves initially, we have serious problems that we need to deal with. Look at those locks right there. And really digest what you're looking at. This is people from Tibet with locks. Like not even locks, with Nazis. These are fashion locks that you go to the store and get twisted every month. This is these people's natural hair. This is not fashion wigs. Tibet. So this is the end of the first part. We did, you know, where we are everywhere except North America. And then we come back for the second half. We're going to go into North America and see how much documented fact evidence we have about ourselves in America. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the day.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was Kudjo. He will give us some more information not too long. Right now, I'd just like to give some recognition for the helpers, everyone who contributed. I would like to say thank you for the event committee, Don Lisa, let's see, Margaret, Melissa, Samuel, Lloyd, and Buster. I would also like to thank the volunteers, the BITSI members, the ACLC members, Don Montgomery Youth Council,